Welcome back, everybody, to game number 2 of VP versus T1, and I may already have some hot takes for you, some assumptions on things that may be happening. What would you say if Lina were to be first phase picked?
I think it would be what these two teams might be doing. You know, they're already surprising us.
How would you feel if Viper were to be first phase picked?
How would we feel if we outed you for cheating, Mr. Host?
I would tell you that I am very good at checking my emails, and there is no such accusation that would have a basis. Damn. Oh my gosh. Woo. Would you look at that? Winter Wyvern and Lina first phased for Virtus Pro. T1 pick up the Viper and the Abaddon. Bans out Ancient Apparition, Timbersaw, Terrorblade, and Phantom Lancer. VP ban out the DK, Doom, Luna, and Punk.
Yep, as expected, the fact that we have Viper go through this time VP, they give it up because they are not first pick, they are banning the Doom themselves. Entering the second phase, they're taking away the Enchantress. If we look a little bit more towards the openings, I think Abaddon Viper, I think VP have already run this once before in the tournament, but it is very potent to deal with, because I think Viper going between mid and off lane, the Scardy, the Dragonlance, I like that style of build. Don't do this ATOS stuff anymore. Don't try and become a hero that you're not. Don't try and lock down heroes. Just be a turret that just chips and chips and chips.
Yeah, VP, they sort of baited out this first pick Viper, though. They had a plan ready for it.
Exactly. Yeah.
At least with the Lina. I don't know if Wyvern's supposed to be good with Viper. Maybe he is, because Wyvern just seems to heal versus everything. But yeah, they seem to have swapped support duos. VP just saw that Wyvern Enchantress winning T1 the game last time.
Wait, so take it. Expand on why is Lina a good response to Viper?
Lina's very good in lane versus Viper, so you'll win that lane. And I think in the game, Viper's a hero where it's hard for you to deal with mixed types of damages. You can't itemize for all of that, plus get BKB. And Lina's just a really high damage hero, so you can just kill that Viper. The Cross's skin doesn't do much to Lina's fiery soul.
Okay, but with the support duo of already being Enchantress and Winter Wyvern, what's stopping T1 from turning this into an offlane Cuckoo Viper?
I think sorry, I was gonna say that should kind of be the avenue that might look to go down, but also because you have the Enchantress maybe laning into that as well, we just saw the effectiveness of the creep bodying these offlaners. It's the same principle. You now have a Lina to deal with Viper mid, and Enchantress to deal with Viper offlane.
Yeah, one of the best ways to deal with these flexible picks is you just make one lane where they can't go in.
Yeah.
If they go into this lane, then you're at a draft advantage. If they flex into the other lane, then it's a lot easier to draft against.
Yeah, VP, they need to have this big offlane presence now. Realistically, they might not want to go Tide because of the Viper, but they need some like Tide-esque hero who will kind of just happily stand in front and allow these three-range support of three-ranged heroes to play behind.
Sounds to me like a Centaur has been picked up by VP to be their offlaner, and they've banned out a few of the heroes that would be tough to deal with. They banned out the Monkey King. Ursa is still available in the pool, although 23 Savage has not been playing it too much.
Yeah, we now it's pretty good Centaur, and the idea of there's one stun right now for T1, right? It's like the Earthquake. Sure, a Hex as well, but if you get that Stampede, you're gonna be able to run away even if you're Hex, and I think that alone is gonna be pretty helpful, and why VP picked it with such confidence. We haven't really seen Centaur on the native, but this is kind of one of those times where no lockdown, you can somewhat be enabled.
I still find it wild how far Mars fell off the face of the earth from the Animajor to this tournament, and how Centaur has just overtaken him in popularity. These offlaners, they go through fads, it seems.
Yeah, it's basically how all pro teams work, right? Like if you ever listen to the captains, it's like, why'd you pick this hero? Sometimes it is just a single player coming to the boot camp or coming to the pre-scrim chat or whatever, going, I just want to play this hero today. It's like, why? It's like, I just think it's good.
Yeah. And their response for 23 Savage in the Centaur lane is going to be Wraith King.
I think the key read for this is when you have double heals, it's about prolonging fights and kind of the chip damage that you have, or kind of at least enabling cores to continuously do chip damage. And Wraith King is one of those heroes that thrive in these engagements because, you know, Ench and Wyvern aren't going to be the ones killing off the Wraith King, nor is a Centaur. There's a lot of enabling heroes on VP, but no one who decisively can kill a hero 100 to 0, and especially twice in a row. And that's why I think T1 did go for this Wraith King in the end.
Yeah, I think Wraith King's a strong hero, and you hadn't identified that the enemy team doesn't have the ability to kill you without using a lot of resources.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
If they can trade out the Stampede, all of a sudden their Viper and Lion can have a lot more impact into the disables once Stampede is done. You trade Stampede for a Wraith King ulti, I think T1 are very happy with that.
What is the mid Lina build you like these days, Curtis?
Finally came up for
I like the ones where they go into right click. So
like the AC style of build?
Well, they go They usually go like, what do they usually go? Like Travels, Yos, BKB, Daedalus.
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
And so the reason I asked that is because you'd think that typically Lina, okay, I blow Laguna Blade on Wraith King's first life, then how am I going to kill him a second time? I've seen core Lina deal a ton of right-click damage in a short period of time.
That is true for sure. If she can get to the point where she gets to get one big damage in him, this hero does insane amounts of damage. I think she has really high int gain, and Fiery Souls, I mean, it's plus like 300 attack speed.
This could be for VP. Like, they do have last pick in the draft, so talking about their carries somewhat underwhelming, but I still think they could be gravitating towards like maybe a Jug, or even a rare one like a Weaver. Just because you have like, the lack of stuns and the laning phase, you're going to be able to quickly run over your opponent and maybe invade that jungle quite cleanly. But anyway, T1 have the final pick in the first pick, sorry, in the draft. So let's maybe look towards that.
I would like to see VP go for a more early game focused lineup than they have in the past.
Exactly.
I think when they beat T1, they were outplaying them in the early game, and T1 was winning games by sort of outplaying VP in the mid to late game. You sort of had that dynamic. If you go into the mid game sort of a little bit ahead on VP, I think the game becomes even because T1s are a bit better at that. And then, I mean, VP, it's not like they're slouches in the mid late game. They can definitely hold their own, but I don't know. T1s look phenomenal in this tournament.
Yeah, this ban from T1, the lifesteal, it does indicate that the Viper will just most likely be off lane, because I feel like you want to take away these heroes that have their own sustainability in lane. Same thing with kind of like the Morphling. And I think right now T1 are kind of offering VP this Juggernaut as like the obvious pick, but like, it's gonna sound a bit left field, but even like a particular Lycan, let's bring that bad boy. VP just picked Silencer. Why not go for Lycan? Owie's eyes just popped. Was like, no, what is he saying? Stop talking.
They might go Lycan.
I think it looks pretty good right now, right?
Yeah, I think that hero is DPC. That who is it? Logun beat TNC with Lycan safe lane and Pudge line off lane. So it's Dota. Anything can work.
There we go. That's what I like.
Apparently, Pudge line can beat Troll Enchantress safe lane.
Radiant's turn to pick.
And T1 need to pick up probably their mid laner, or it could be off laner.
Baden is kind of running in, Wraith King's running in, they're happily soaking up all the damage, and then suddenly Magnus will connect with that big RP because of how easy the vision is obtained in these fights.
It also makes it a little bit harder for VP to do their last pick. You can still lane Viper into Lina. It's not like some super unplayable matchup, it's just Lina does better than most, so now they can sort of flex it between offlane and mid with Magnus and Viper.
And these semi-carries that we've been mentioning, be it like the meme Lycan or the Weaver or whatever, you don't really want to pick them into a Mag plus Wraith King style lineup, because it will accelerate his farm too quickly, that your timing to win the game with a skirmishing style carry is complete. It's like so hard to play in that window. Yeah,
originally I was thinking Juggernaut for sure for VP, but I think Magnus fares pretty well versus that hero. It's skewer out. The Luna's already banned, which was the other hero I thought would go pretty well for them. There's a lot of carries banned. I'm not too sure what Nightfall is looking at right now.
Oh, they just go for the Juggernaut, sure.
Oh, they go for it anyways.
Yeah,
okay.
Fair.
So why'd you say that Jug is good against? I mean, Mag is good against Jug.
Well, I mean, you can skewer out of the spin in lane, so you don't have much kill threat. And you can RP through his BKB. Yep. On the other hand, though, you can do pretty well in lane on Jug. You just have low BAT and a crit, so you can just hit him a lot.
The main thing here
from so
VP,
it's Viper offlane.
Yeah, it's Viper offlane. That's the main thing, right? They picked the Jug because they needed a carry to play into this offlane Viper. They needed a way to sustain through that damage. Healing Ward is very strong, of course, to spin. And Virtus Pro this time, they're not going to try and play a game where they happily farm for 15-20 minutes and then spend like 8 minutes at Roshan. This is a completely different style where they're going to try to play their laning phase, connect with an early active Lina, a strong laning phase of Jug, and then try and take the fight to T1.
I'd like to see them bring Winter Wyvern to their safe lane pretty early. Their laning Enchantress, or whoever the second support is. Because I think Viper should be free kills. Any Enchantress creep that gives you anything to cancel TPs, Viper will die to a spin and Arctic Burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I mean, like, this is less off the wall than game number 1, just because there's no silencer, and so I'm already more encouraged by VP. But I will say that first phase Lina, it seems very, very specific to this whole Viper thing. Yeah. I don't really know.
The main thing is T1 didn't change their style coming into the second game. They're keeping the same kind of philosophy. It's Virtus Pro there. Lost game 1, they've adapted. They got a little bit more, punch, a little bit more fight. There we go. And then they're going to try and take it to their opponent.
Let's see if it works out. Let's pass it over to our caster's Suns fan and hostage situation.
What is this? What are you guys doing? Oh, the squirt action is in. And finally, I have a professional next to me. Not some disgusting filth that some people call Jenkins with out pronouncing the J. Lacoste!
Yeah, I just want to secure my PI spot.
Oh, okay.
You know, I do not want him to cast all the games.
That's a good plan. But you're sitting next to me, which I feel like counteracts that plan to some degree. But, well, good effort. Good effort overall. As you get situated, we're going to talk about this game. VP versus T1, game 2 of this best of 5 grand finals. T1, of course, with that game 1 victory. Both teams looking really sharp, as this smoke is going to be broken up to a degree by Carl here, who's getting pinged now. What are your thoughts on this lineup from both respective sides, Mr. Lacoste?
I feel like the story of these two teams throughout this whole tournament has been how to either counter Enchantress or how to get the most out of the Enchantress in the laning stage. So I want to see how many sentries Enchantress is going to buy to be able to get the big creep and do something in the lane. This is a position 4 Enchantress this time around. The Wyvern will be played as Kingslayer, so that means 5. But talking about the drafts in general, whenever I see Lion, it always just feels good to have him. They also pick Juggernaut into BKB piercing ability, which is mag. But also you have Viper on top of it. It doesn't stop him from TPing, but still goes through magic immunity.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of these. I mean, talked about this last game, but Wyvern is basically picked every single game, as we've seen, and teams are starting to adjust a bit. You have Viper Strike for it, along with Nether Toxin. You have the burst damage from Lion as well. So, and of course, you can skewer the very stationary targets. So teams are really ready for this Wyvern. Do you think it's still strong enough to pick? Because last game, I mean, a couple scenarios where the Cold Embrace is just ridiculous.
This is just a hero that if you don't have the tools to deal damage through the heal, it's like you pretty much win the game off of it.
Yeah. So do you think they have enough tools this time around?
Lion with the finger possibly. Viper is okay-ish, nothing spectacular. I guess my top 3 would be Invoker, Spirit Vessel.
Okay.
A lot of damage coming out from him. Either that, maybe Timbersaw.
Okay.
Timbersaw is the top 1 for me. And then I think Sanking is a damn good one.
Oh, all right. Can we get all 3 of those in the same lineup one of these days? That'd be great. Terrific. But yeah, still some burst at least on their side as T1 getting things kicked off here in the top lane. DM being pressured a bit on this Centaur War Runner, as Whitemond's going to take the brunt of the damage from this Arctic Burn from Kingslayer. Let's talk about this mid lane. This is always the most interesting lane in general. It's going to be GPK on the Lina versus Carl's Magnus, as the LSA is actually going to miss here.
Where are you going?
Carl doing a much better job than I expected. Like first couple of waves might be a bit rough with the Magnus. You're playing into Lina, so there's always going to be that harassment coming up from the header right clicks or LSA. You get close off lane.
That is first blood. Down goes DM. So T1 off to a good start in this lane. Of course, they have the double stun potential here with the Wraith King and the Lion. Overall, pretty strong lane in general. We actually saw, I forget who it was that maxed out Wraith Fire Blast. I forget.
Yeah, there was the one game, I don't also remember which one was it, but this was like a fighting Wraith King. I believe there was reason why, because they had Agility Hero on a mid lane that also scaled, so you just wanted to be able to buy a bit more time, fight early on with the team. This time around, no shenanigans compared to Spirit. 2 points in it, going into Armlet, which I really like, because it's a guaranteed crit off your Armlet with Immortal Strike.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, we've been seeing basically the same build, Armlet into Radiance most of the time. Radiance, or Armlet allows you to just fight right away, and then Radiance kind of secures the game in a lot of these times where you just snowball as the Wraith King.
Against Alliance, he decided to go for a different item though, just Armlet into Blink Dagger, because they needed to execute the combo better. They had the Grimstrokes, a double stun, double doom. Made a lot of sense in just being able to jump the backlines.
Yeah, we have Mr. Juggernaut himself, Nightfall. This is not a hero we get to see that often anymore, despite most people saying he's still good. But why don't we see this hero more often?
There's so many BKB piercing abilities, and since Wyvern gained a lot of popularity, it's just, I'm not gonna say unplayable, but it's really tough. There's always gonna be a threat, killing your own teammates, heal. You can't use Omni Slash on top of it. And it's like Juggernaut just needs a steroid at the moment, needs to be paired up with the Magnus, which is something that Alliance did very effectively in one of their games. Lina, 19 against 17 on a mid lane. GPK putting a ton of pressure on Mag.
Yeah, Carl has to skewer out. And basically the CS is close to being even. Not a huge advantage either side, but
Juggernaut just using the spin casually to show which abilities he has. Very nice.
You got to make sure it works for sure. He actually has a Battle Fury queued up. So this is an item that feels like you can't buy these days, or at least players are not buying.
Can't be breached.
What do you think about this
It's
game?
just too slow, especially if Wraith King gets armlet. You show up in a fight with possibly like a broadsword, maybe a claymore, or just a ring. You actually don't do much compared to Wraith King, who could potentially just have 2 lives. You can't burst, and there's just not enough damage.
Ooh, that is a big courier. That's a Ring of Health for DM, so obviously the Vanguard is what he's going for. Is they're going to get the Earth Spike in the top lane, but I don't think they're going to be able to find a kill as Kingslayer or 23 Savage, I should say, is just focusing on the creeps here. But yeah, I mean, the typical build that we've been seeing when Juggernaut is picked is kind of the Maelstrom into either SNY or Manta, depending on which is better, into Shard. Do a lot of damage with the Blade Fury, gives you that extra move speed, gives you more options later in the game, and into attack speed into like an Aghanim Scepter or something like that. But Battle Fury, we'll see. We'll see what he does with that if he actually continues to build into it.
Might change his mind. If he buys a full ring, then he's committed. Like, you can't turn that ring into anything, so we'll have to see. Cuckoo, it's just gonna TP out.
All right, cancel it.
Get a kill here.
Yeah, Blade Fury with the impetus damage. He pops the Fairy Fire. This is gonna be pretty close. Nightfall taking a lot of damage from the tower, puts down the healing ward in turn, and both players are actually gonna live. I think Cuckoo was TPing the base, right? So I think it might have been one of those fake outs where he was hoping that they would just back off and let him go.
Might actually backfire. If you need to walk back from the base while they killed you and you use 100 gold TP, that's pretty big. I love the Cuckoo. I think AY talked about him as being the best Viper throughout the major. Not going for Road of Athos type of a build. We're gonna see that one again on the replay. He's TPing tier 1 tower, but it's a long TP because Abba already TP'd, so he had to stop. He realized, you know, they might still go for me. It's going to take some time.
Wait up.
And save. Has the Centaur creep. Carl getting pressured again. We'll have to skewer to safety. Level 6 right now as the Centaur continues on.
Fire.
Not sure if they can actually pressure this any further, but there is a siege there. So the tower, at the very least, will be taking heavy damage. And Kingslayer has even come to help out as well. Zephyr playing the Abaddon this time around.
This is a big
like
tower.
Hero.
They definitely didn't need a Kingslayer there, but he's there just to be able to secure it. GPK gets the last hit with your Arcane Rune. He can just keep spamming the spell. Low cooldown, low mana cost.
Yeah, and that is a 6.5 minute tier 1 mid as a Lina. Not too shabby. Obviously the Enchantress helping out quite a bit. As you can see, the average time is just over 10 minutes. And 541. Haven't we not really had a level 1 tower taken out of the cup?
We had that during NA DPC Season 2, and then a Chinese team tried to copy it. They killed it super fast, lost the game in 12 minutes. I believe it was Garo Gaming.
Yeah, something like that. As Cuckoo getting spotted out, the Blade Fury with the impetus damage on the side. So Nightfall finally getting the kill that he feels like he deserved not too long ago. And he is doing okay. I mean, 2,700 net worth versus the 3,600. Basically 1,000 net worth difference here between him and 23 Savage.
23 Savage kind of reminds me of Hector when he was playing TI9. Like, he was super efficient with the farming. That's how efficient 23 Savage is this particular tournament, Season 2 and Major.
Yeah, we hear the Stampede, so it looks like it's just for the retreat here for DM. As Cuckoo's still not level 6 yet, so you can see that there is a 1k net worth lead for VP, which is kind of crazy considering the lead that 23 Savage has.
Dire's top tower.
And there's no like gold amplifiers. Really, I mean, he's farming pretty fast, obviously, but there's no Doom, obviously no Optimus because he's not picked anymore. Great hero, by the way. Hope that we get to see that in this finals.
Yeah, can't wait until someone, like, if there's gonna be game 5, one theme is just, you know what? We're bringing that Alchemist. We've even seen in the first game, Silencer.
That's right.
That was not picked at all during the main.
And I think we saw why. As the Centaur Stomp will be there. Hook Stomp's going to be canceled, but Laguna Blade finishes off Cuckoo.
Dire's top tower
Now
is
Whitemon trying to
under
juke his way around the trees. They did get some vision. LSA's not going to connect, though. Nightfall in the vicinity. Nice Earth Spike there. He actually pops a Fairy Fire as well. So the impetus wasn't quite enough damage, but
Can he juke this?
No, there's-
I don't think so.
Let's make a bet.
There's a way. Wait
Whoa,
a
wait.
minute.
Wait a second. The spin. Yeah, he fine. I mean, a lot of space created. That took an extra 20 seconds.
faces a stiff wind.
Still not enough.
I was going to bet something on Jenkins' behalf, but I chose not to because he's had a rough time so far because he did.
He really did. He had to work through this whole event with us, so you gotta take it easy on him. Problem is, DM, I don't think he's killable at the moment. Just sitting with the Vanguard, the Magic Stick, we can see Kingslayer
Like your ships.
bringing it back to full HP. They need to have a finger, which is not going to be online for quite some time. Lion, only level 4 at the moment.
Yeah, and he's going to have to walk.
Dire's top tower is
Whitemon
about
level
to take
4.
the Radiant's middle
He has
tower
that smoke
can't
available to
handle
use
this
whenever he
damage.
wants. 2-1-1 build right now. Is Zephyr playing the Abaddon? I know he's played this before, but it doesn't feel like a Zephyr hero.
There was one game during the major when he played Abba Position 4. I believe he managed to get a mech, even a Solar Crest, just tank it up. But this time around, Lion will need to be like the playmaking 4. Cuckoo will drop one more time.
He gets the Viper Strike out, but knowing he was dead anyway, GPK is just going to get healed, so most of the damage will be mitigated in the end.
Big timing for them is going to be a Blink Dagger on Magnus, because right now they don't have any way to start a fight. And also Armlet on Raid King, which just got finished, farming up the Ancient Camp, which usually you can't do with Raid King unless you have Empower, which just ran off.
Run off.
Some
Whitemon.
assistance from Carl.
Gets slowed from the enchant, gets the Earth Spike off as the rotation from Cuckoo's here, but they just don't have anything to be able to kill Nightfall, at least not yet. We talked about the RP potential that will go through the Blade Fury, and I mean, other than that, they don't really have anything to stop that spin TP worst case scenario for them. But yeah, Blink Daggers will be huge. We can talk about the other Blink Dagger, of course, from DM. He is about 800 away from finishing that. So, and the fact that Carl's actually going for Blink before Echo Saber, what are your thoughts on that? Do you like that this game around? Because a lot of times we do see the Echo Saber first to allow you to just amplify your farm a little bit more. And
In this game, I think he understands that his job is like not to carry the game. Raid King will be in charge of that, and also Cuckoo's itemization. He goes for a different one. It's not Road of Atos anymore. It's Dragon Scale into BKB, into Scotty, something that he's done. So having an initiator, they understand that they need to fight right now. So when they get a Blink Dagger on Mag, they will smoke and try to go for a kill. Whitemon, he's also level 6, so a lot of burst potential. Where is the smoke? There is one on Lion right now, so...
Yep, now that he has his level 6, they can definitely burst somebody down. His save is actually in the area, but the Centaur creep is going to be spotting out T1. And it looks like they should be able to take him out. Deny, not going to do that. Denying the ward is there for Whitemon, so
bottom tower
gonna be a better trade there. But you see the tier 1 now taking some action as DM trying to defend. He has the 4 levels of return. Retaliate. God, the fact that they changed that makes me so sad.
They changed that ability so many times.
Yeah.
Sad face, and there's the smoke that I mentioned. Time to grab a kill. Haste on Magnus is available. So could potentially just skewer people back instead of initiating with the RP.
Yep.
And Virtus Pro, they know something's cooking. They're hiding inside the trees. They did not see Magnus for quite some time, so they probably know
like,
RP is available.
It's like both teams always know what the other is doing.
Because they're so good. Like,
Yeah.
there's a reason why these two teams are...
Oh, Carl!
Now,
Instant Dual Scepter. LSA's not going to be able, but the curse is instead. A lot of damage being applied to Whitemon. Trying to get healed, but there's the blue period to come through. That's going to be 2 easy kills, even with the RP after the fact. Completely wasted. Carl still ends up dying, and now the impetus damage from Zephyr. He should be able to shake it off with the borrowed time, which he has not skilled yet. Still has that point available.
Nicely done there by GPK. He uses Shield Scepter straight away when he blinks in, set things up for LSA. Centaur also jumps in. That's Blink Dagger on a Centaur, I believe. And he can disassemble. I don't think there's a reason to like have a Vanguard. You can disassemble it and get the hood instead, because there's much more magic damage rather than the right clicks.
You're not scared of those skeletons?
Oh, yeah. Especially if he gets the shard.
Oh,
The
that's
extra
true,
3
yeah.
skellies.
Yeah, this Yule's was instantaneous. That's like a bot. That is... I don't know how people do this, man.
Mouse. I believe that was
Their mouse is just that good. DM gets the double hook stop there. Oh! Yeah, with the Finger of Death is enough damage to take him out in the end, so T1 able to get a return kill here.
Even with losing tier 1 tower on mid lane and losing the top tower, T1, they're still keeping up with the farm. Like, they didn't manage to kill a single tier 1 tower. Next big timing for them, Radiance on the Raid King. They might try to go and like get a pick off and just keep them busy while Raid King is farming.
Yeah.
They know the Ancient camp is blocked, so White One will take care of the business.
All right, so let's look at the farm here. So 1,200 net worth discrepancy between the Jug and the Wraith King. And like you said, Wraith King about 1,000 away from finishing the Sacred Relic portion of the Radiance. But on the other side, Nightfall did get his Battle Fury, so his farm should amplify, and we'll see if he's able to catch up I mean, when you get to like mid to late game, how do you look at this matchup between these two carries? Do you
If you're
favor
able
one or the other?
to take out Wyvern, I'm still siding with the Magnus and Raid King. The Radiance miss chance, you don't care too much about the Omni Slash, definitely not the target that you want to use it on. You also don't have the burst potential against Abba. Maybe Lina level 2 ulti, but not that easy to execute. I've seen a lot of different approaches when it comes to Abba versus Lion. Sometimes teams prioritize to pick Abba into Lion, sometimes it's the other way around, because you can just burst him before you can get any spells off.
Radiant's bottom tower faces
Whitemon, we've
stiff
seen
wind.
him before play this line where he gets super fast blinks, but I don't think that's happening this game.
Not this game, because there needs to be a lot of warding happening, sitting at the only 1,700 net worth at the moment. Issue is bad, and he doesn't farm. Like, he doesn't have ways of pushing the waves, doesn't have the ability, so you just have to use the Product Shield, get a couple of right clicks going. The thing is, they have a good scaling lineup, and the itemization that we talked about, Cuckoo going for that Dragon Lance into BKB, just tanking up, and I believe his next item is going to be Scotty, because neither Magnus nor Raid King loves to buy it.
Yeah, that's kind of the reason I brought up the fact that Zephyr is playing the Abaddon. It just doesn't feel like his hero, because you're not getting farm in this hero ever. Like, you're basically, your entire job is just to sit behind somebody and get the Aphotic Shield off if they get gone on. But we'll see how it works out for them. I mean, right now they are behind in terms of net worth, despite having the top net hero in the game right now. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the supports are just not the farming type supports overall.
Yeah, because Raid King done a lot of stacks so far with that Empower, getting very close to Radiance. This is where they're going to be trying to make stuff happen. And you also want to have level 2 ulti, that's big timing, so a ton of damage coming out just from him.
Top tower is under attack.
On Nightfall side, we talked about the typical build with the battle periods. We're going to see Cuckoo able to do a lot of damage. The Stampede's not going to be enough to save, as we're going to have the initiation now onto the Wraith King. Has enough space been created, though. 23 Savage is more than fine. Now the heals come out again.
Not the best execution on the top, because you want to, like, Amber was the second TP, instead it should have been one to get stuck.
Spike. Oh, Finger of Death. Kingslayer is done, though. Hookstomp's going to be there. Little mana drain action going on, but DM will just walk this off. And the fact that you brought up the fact that the DM could take this apart, but he's actually going to keep the Vanguard, it looks like. So we're just going for both Hood, Vanguard, and of course the Blink
Usually
Dagger.
it's the other way around. You get the Vanguard plus Hood into Blink Dagger, because this Blink Dagger didn't set up any kills pretty much.
Yeah, true. Now that the Radiance is online for 23 Savage, we'll see them get much more aggressive as a result. And from Carl's side, we've seen a couple initiations here with his Blink Dagger. Of course, the 1 RP that we saw was sadly from their perspective wasted. But we'll be going for the Echo Saber, still not there yet, as we see the impact move, Finger of Death play here. Is the big crit into the Whitemon crit, if you want to call it that.
He also used Hex immediately. My man is really quick with the fingers.
Yeah.
Probably using quick cast.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, you almost hope so, because it's almost inhuman. Makes me feel terrible about my gameplay, personally. But then again, I am an old decrepit man, Sauce, which you don't know yet about, but soon
I don't know the full story yet, but I'm
You've seen a glimpse.
slowly getting into it. Yeah, over the last couple of days, I'm understanding Sunspan.
As VP on this tier 2 tower look to be taking it for free, actually.
Top tower.
Ton of damage. Retaliate plus a Dragonlance. So you hit it once, and then you get like return damage 60 plus 70 of your strength. We're not gonna do any math during the stream because it's a bit too much.
Yeah, and we don't have our calculator out here. The TI 83 Plus not available this time around, sadly. Pipe will be next for DM on the Centaur Warrunner.
Double damage.
And then after that, what do you buy this game? There's so many armor items, but looks like they're going to go for Roche. Yeah, they give up their tier 2 bot to 23 Savage, but if it's a trade for Roche, I think they'll take it, especially considering how last game ended up going. This looks to be a freebie. The DD with GTK is definitely going to help out. He's going to get the Aegis himself, and T1 just a little bit too late. Maybe they even realized at a certain point, but just...
It's too much damage. He just keeps the Fiery Soul, which is maxed out, with the double damage, more than enough. I like GPK because he understands that he can't afford to get Boots of Travel, Yule Scepter type of a build, just gets BKB as the second item, which I really like. I've seen so many Leshrac players throughout the, not just this tournament, but also previous major, where they fall off short because they don't become tanky enough, they don't have a defensive ability, and now you basically have 2 lives, maybe 3 if you count in a good time BKB.
Yep, that's a good point. I mean, very similar playstyles with the heroes. Obviously, their second spell is, or the stun is basically the same, right? I mean, when you go back to Dota 1, it was literally the same at some point, I think. But the DM's going to recapture this outpost. Nightfall, we've talked about his progression in items. So talked about whether it be an SNY or a Manta. It is the SNY.
Against Lion makes more sense. They
Yeah.
want to have that status resistance.
Oh, we have the Yules into the LSA. Will connect DM with the hoof stomp into the double edge. And that is enough damage to take out Carl. Stampede used as well, but not a whole lot of damage done to 23 Savage. But Zephyr with a little bit of a borrowed time cast there.
There you go.
Keeps him alive.
Blink that
Python, though.
already.
Yeah, quick stop only onto one, but the right clicks are going to be more than enough. The curse onto the Viper as Wasting starts the beautiful LSA. My goodness! Triple kill for Nightfall. That's the first life for Mr. Wraith King, but something tells me that he will die very shortly. Huge fight from VP. Holy jeez, that was great synergy.
That was beautiful. I think what they needed was someone to cancel Blink Dagger on a Centaur, someone who was willing to die for the team, just say, well, I'm done, you know, I'm gonna be the victim here, and you kill me. Rest of the team try to fall back. Great curse to set things up. We're gonna see that one again.
Oh, this was so sexy, actually. So the curse, it looked kind of weird because the Lion wasn't quite dead. He's getting healed up here, but then they group up.
Just beautiful execution. These two teams have shown like the top tier execution throughout the whole tournament.
Yeah, that was quite something. And with that, that is a 6K net worth lead now on VP. And we're talking about really good time Radiance on
I've been thinking, you know, I saw GPK playing in the kitchen. What does that stand for? Gonna play in kitchen? Is that it?
Sure. Does that give him an inherent benefit that he's just
maybe,
never
like,
hungry?
He's close to food. He's close to cold beverages, so maybe that's why.
I guess you, of all people, could appreciate that because you need your good food. I've noticed that with you.
I really do.
And you enjoy burgers quite a bit, which doesn't have anything to do with this game. Just thought I'd throw that out.
It also doesn't have to do anything with the good food. But,
that is true. That's another story entirely. Is Nightfall able to take the haste here? But this game is not over. I'm not going to say that. I have a good feeling that this will go 5 games, though.
I have the same feeling. Like Virtus Pro, I think they're in a really good spot right now. Now with the double done on Lina, getting closer to level 18. I also love the way that they're like not using certain abilities. They have great understanding of what needs to be done to kill a certain hero. GPK holding doing a blade there on Magnus on a mid lane. Doesn't even flinch, does not want to pop it. It's been very impressive. Not just this game, but I'd say like Season 1, Season 2, even before that, they have some problems on the land, but I'm pretty sure the boys can handle it during the TI. So far, 0 deaths in this game.
I feel like the more lands you play, the better that's going to get, just naturally, right? And if not, you really need a life coach
Yeah, I mean,
To
if
get you
you
through
play
it.
more lands and you get worse at it, then maybe you should start thinking about a different career.
Oh boy.
Maybe analyst.
Yeah, you could always do
Take
that.
much talent for that.
Yeah, especially with that Jenkins character. I mean, that's the NA analyst too. Goodness gracious. We've fallen on hard times if that's one of our top guys.
Radiant's middle
We're being too
tower
hard on
is
Mr.
under
Jenkins,
attack.
but Juggernaut, Nightfall, he's not being too hard because T1 is getting crushed under his fury right now. He's going for the Scotty, and we'll be going for the shard that we kind of mentioned here, which typically you see coupled with a Maelstrom, but obviously with the Battle Fury, it's not really going to make too much sense, but either way will allow you to attack through the Blade Fury as well, which will proc the Scotty, so that just essentially gives Blade Fury a slow, if you think about it that way, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. The main coming out from SNY, just getting it's not a thing anymore.
I miss those days, actually. But status resistance is pretty freaking...
It is.
I won't lie.
We have main component on tier 4 item, Penta Edge Sword.
That's true. We need MAME back in the regular game, though. It doesn't count if it's just a neutral. But sadly, the MAME wasn't really the good part about that item for a lot of the history of Dota. It was just the stats were just so efficient for a certain time.
I think for Dota 1 players and early Dota 2, the reason why SNY was being built is because you did not have to click.
That's true. The hotkeys were not a good situation.
You needed to have like a program to use the hotkeys that were not in the game.
And sometimes those programs may or may not have had viruses. Like, you just never knew back then, right? So perfectly understandable. But we can see 23 Savage now has that casual Sange, which we've been seeing not quite as often as a couple patches ago, but we'll be going for the Blink Dagger. So once they get ultra aggressive here is the BKB.
Why are they going for a casual Sange Suns fan?
Status resistance.
There we go.
Good, clean
Also
stuff.
Damage, self-region amplification, region lifesteal amplification. The item just gives a bit too much, even after the 4% nerf. It's still a top
I mean, if you
tier
have
item.
built-in lifesteal, then it just makes the item even better on you, right? So.
But if that was MAME, like you would definitely like rush damage.
MAME, I think
just
nobody
need
would
the
buy
Sange.
it. Even with all the benefits, if you replace the statuses
yeah,
with MAME,
then,
nobody buys that garbage, sadly. As we have a smoke here from T1, 4-man smoke save. Oh, he might be the one to sacrifice himself here, which he would be very happy with. Nightfall. Oh, he's going to be spotted up against the Blade Fury off beforehand. Might have to back up, though. Gets the healing ward down just in case, as Carl's not able to hit the skewer. Good effort, though.
Sometimes it's
Nightfall.
hard, not perfectly timed.
Yeah.
We see Enchantress with the 4-staff full pike. One also done on Centaur. They want to push people out of the trouble. Great against Wraith King when he decides to go in. Great against Viper. In general, great item. It got nerfed. Like, I believe mana cost on the item before was 25 mana. Also huge cast range. Unfortunately, Skewer did not connect, as you mentioned.
That's right. We just, a
bit of a slow game, you know, only 15 kills, 27 minutes in.
Yeah, which is, I mean, the games between these two teams kind of start out slow a lot of time, and then the Roche area is where it gets amplified, which I know that's kind of the case for a lot of teams, but these two in particular, it feels like they really have a focus for that. But this time around, VP were able to sneak it, essentially, with the double damage on the Lina, and this, I guess, is the biggest reason why they've had this big advantage now. T1, not out of it yet, obviously. They have the big Wombo combo with...
Lina has a Deso with cosmetics, which he actually does not.
Okay, I was going to say.
Looks like a Deso, right?
I guess so.
If it looks like a Deso,
it's a Deso.
Probably is.
True.
They're trying to bring down Radiant's
GPK, like you said, no Deso. You debated me, but does have Shiva's coming very soon. Only a couple hundred gold from finishing that. So that's going to be pretty good against the lifesteal of Wraith King as well. That's providing a slow for all the melee heroes.
Money to burn.
And Juggernaut is the one with the quote-unquote Deso, if you want to call that, with the Orb of Destruction.
Yeah, bunch Deso, Orb of Destruction.
Ooh, Paladin Sword. Okay, we talked about the regen amplification on Wraith King. Now, with the Sange on top of this item, very nice. That's one of those top tier.
Exactly. I thought this item was going to get nerfed in the previous patch.
Yeah.
It actually got a buff.
Yeah, I got the spell lifesteal, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's really weird. I wonder if they looked at like stats for like the win percentage. Maybe it wasn't as good as we think it is.
Maybe they were looking at the different bracket instead of mortal bracket. They checked the Arcade or whatever.
That's fine. You got to cater some things to casual players. I think that's perfectly fine. We have 4-man smoke on T1.
They got a flicker. Arc and Bracket, they have Flicker.
That's true. We have a big skewer into the instant hex with the finger of death with the stampede into the Blade Fury. Nightfall will live. So much expended on him. And with the healing ward bringing it back as we see the curse come in as well. Zephyr's gonna pop his ult, but the Lion's gonna be the first to fall. There's the RP finally onto 2, but not a ton of damage to follow it into the skewer. And there's the Omni Slash doing so much work. That's the first life for Wraith King. But Carl takes a tumble. Another Blade Fury. And this is looking very good for VP. Only one death in that engagement. They used so much on Nightfall.
Yeah, those 4 staffs actually keeping the Juggernaut alive. Status resistance also kicking in. He's super tanky. He has almost 3,000 HP. Huge skewer back into Hex. Like they try to focus him down, but the Stampede, 4 staff, he's out of trouble. Gonna be pretty much full HP. But there is a healing ward. They have a couple of ways to reset the fight. Another good curse. The Lion goes out of mana. Needed to use the mana to get back in. And like 23 Savage right here is already half HP. As Skewer comes in like 1 second late, maybe with End Power they would be able to kill a hero. The fight is already over. Get a big Omni. Yeah. And this actually might be the game. I would not be surprised if they try to close it out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they got mid racks. They're going to get bot racks for free as well. And tier 3 top is actually available. They have all the outer towers. They're going to push in the wave the old-fashioned way.
But Mr. Roshan, he respawned, so...
Yes, he did.
We need to do something about second Rosh. Rosh number 2 gives a bit too much. I would prefer if it's just Aegis plus a shard.
Yes.
Aegis T shard.
Ice Frog, if you're watching, we've talked about this before, so hopefully you're not annoyed with us, but please do not remove shard.
No, shard is
please.
Very fun. It's a great addition.
Nobody actually cares about cheese. I don't want to, you know, whoever came up with that's fine. It's lasted for quite a while. You can retire the cheese.
Yeah, especially lactose intolerant people.
That's
like,
right.
They don't care about the cheese. It's all about that Aegis.
I do carry around the lactate pills in my pocket, so I don't really care personally.
So you don't get annoyed by me.
That's correct. Thank you, lactose. I remember when you were one of your first events, somebody called you lactose or something like that. That's good stuff.
Gets confusing.
Yeah, 16K net worth lead for VP as they are absolutely dominating this one. And what do you think the biggest thing here was from VP's side? Like, was it just the timing worked out really well for them? Was it really just that first Rosh?
It's not the greatest Rosh taking the lineup. Maybe you can take Alpha Wolf with the Enchantress. You have survivability with the Juggernaut's healing ward plus a heal, but that double damage made a hell of a lot of a difference. It would have not been taken down so quickly, and T1 might have enough chance to respond to it. It gave like 5 minutes to Virtus Pro to be able to play aggressive around the map. GPK still sitting on 0 deaths because of it.
As we see 23 Savage now in the bot lane. Has the Hyperstone, so almost finished with the Assault Cuirass. Actually just purchases it now, so being delivered as we speak. So has the extra minus armor now and tankiness to go along with it. But from T1's perspective, as we do see the second Rosh fall, so 5-minute Aegis on GPK. And Shard went to Mr. Winter Wyvern. Very cool. So that is the
cooldown of the Cold Embrace, and Splinter Blast goes off once the heal is done. It's actually a huge AoE. It's the AoE of the Splinter Blast. I believe it's 1200, if I'm not mistaken.
1200 is the AoE of most auras in the game. It's huge.
It's like we've done some testing during the major and got surprised by it works.
Big skewer, really deep. He must have taken that talent well. All right, he's just going to Blade Fury out, so you just don't have the damage to go with it. That has the 425 skewer range. I mean, you do have to kind of be careful here. You can't quite reach the fountain.
One skewer into Hex into Finger should be enough, like plus a couple of right clicks from Wraith King to be able to kill anyone. Juggernaut might be a bit too tanky with that status assist.
Yeah. It's all about that status. He is going for the butterfly now. And I mean, okay, let's talk about T1's chances here. Obviously quite slim. 18K net worth of 32 minutes is pretty monumental, but we've seen comebacks before.
We've seen, especially from T1. This is the team that knows how to make a comeback into the game when they're 10K gold behind. Maybe this is a bit too much, but we'll see the execute. Like, they need that big skewer into tier 4s, into Hex type of a play. Otherwise, they will just spin slowly. Siege tier 3 tower already at half HP.
And the fact that these players have young blood inside them and the quick fingers from both respective sides, actually. See if they can actually... I mean, the problem is the Blade Fury, right? If you can just get that off, you're probably going to live, because that shard just gives you that extra move speed as well. Just create that extra distance needed. Just going to clean up this range Rax as... oh, he did end up going Desolator. Can't tell the difference with his auto attack. I'll tell you that much.
He did not have this when I mentioned it,
No,
right?
he didn't. He did not.
Okay.
Dire's middle barracks.
It's fine.
Well, he's listening. GPK tuned in just to see what casters are
Does he have a
talking about
TV in his
life.
kitchen as well or something?
I don't know, but it's definitely one of those things where, like, this is not a Lina item. Like, this is something that Lina does not buy, and yeah, I'm glad he actually went for it.
Man,
It's very hard to tell the difference.
I love int carries, like int right-click carries, like the idea of it. Right now, it's basic. Like, I guess Puck doesn't feel the same. Like the attack speed, man.
He has damage talent, he has phase shift attack, so sometimes if you don't have enough damage, you might go for that. So maybe Queen of Pain can become one. Windbreak is also okay. Queen of Pain nowhere to be seen, so yeah, pretty much these three.
See, Wind Ranger relies on her ult for the right-clicking. You know what I mean? Like, you have Silencer, in theory, is that other type of range.
We've seen how great a Silencer can be.
Historically,
maybe Silencer. You know, with
well, that's what I mean. Yeah, I mean, the shard is actually pretty cool because it gives you the farm potential, right? But like, I have yet to even see it in one game in pro play.
It's very hard because we've only seen one Silencer, I believe, throughout this whole tournament.
Yeah.
0 Silencers, last major.
Small sample size, and it was support, so can't really give it a true judge. But yeah, can't wait for this patch to see if we can get some of these heroes that have been unpicked. Maybe Pudge can get some love so Jenkins can stop complaining to Icefrog. I'm sure he's sick of those emails. GPK, level 23 now, applying a little bit of pressure to this tier 3 as we see a smoke now from T1. Only on a couple heroes, but the Magnus is really the one that you have to worry about here. Fortification is activated. LSA is going to clip 23 Savage. Is that a Lincoln Sphere?
There is.
That's the Lincoln. Okay.
There's no Lincoln Sphere.
There's, what is that? Oh, that's the Aphotic Shield cosmetic. Okay. I've actually seen that before.
Pay to win. You know, Lina with the no Deso, acting with the Deso, and then you have Zephyr, who has some sick ABBA.
I mean, that looks like Lincoln's, doesn't it?
It really does.
I'm not complaining, by the way. I love this.
Maybe we need glasses, son. Maybe that.
I have glasses. That's the sad part.
Maybe you need new glasses.
Yeah, new glasses for sure. All right, so Fortification is now down as the Lotus Orb is applied to the double Wraithfire Blast. They're able to get that. They have the 2 Siege Wagons as well, so see if they can do anything with the GPK. Gets the Yules off, dodges the Wraithfire Blast. As a result, gets skewered back in around the tier 3, but the big Winter's Curse canceling the RP, which is still available. Laguna Blade is there. Omni Slash to follow. Carl actually uses it, but really to no avail. Does have buyback. Wraith King, first life is done. Centaur, foot stomp, not going to connect. That's not a Lincoln Sphere, by the way. It was the Aphotic Shield, just to be clear. Cold Embrace keeping the Enchantress alive for now. Magnus finally buys back into the game. There's another big skewer into the tier 4s. Will they actually kill the Juggernaut? They get Hook Stomp off there. 23 Savage trying to do as much damage, but this heal, again, Cold Embrace with that talent. The Splinter Butt basically global at this point. Kingslayer finally being taken out, though.
Everything will be getting the mega creeps out of this one. That was such a big curse coming out from Winter Wyvern in that fight. Like when they were about to hit the combo, they still have Empower. Also, Carl, unfortunately, in that fight, used RP, had the buyback ready, didn't get too much out of it. I think the play would be save the RP, buyback, and try to go for a play. But right now, they're playing against mega creeps.
I think he was trying to time it with the end of the Omni Slash, which that's pretty hard to gauge.
It's tough.
Right? But either
Zoomers
way,
can't do it. These players on both teams are Zoomers, so maybe they are good at it. Also, we've seen the power of Wyvern. Once again, even without the Holy Locket, you still go for the talent, the damage. You actually take no damage. Juggernaut's back to full HP. The miss chance, he's super tanky, sitting at 35 armor. Has also Trickster Cloak on top of it, so 20 evasion, magic resistance coming out from it.
I mean, the fact that Kingslayer actually had to look in his inventory to make sure that he didn't even have Eon Disc. It feels like that was a really long-range Winter's Curse, because that skewer, we've seen it with that talent, is able to take you to basically the other side of the map, it feels like. You see the Wraithfire, actually hits the Kobold, so 23 Savage, not a fan of that creep. Needs a buff.
That was hot.
Yeah, definitely. Lina hit level 25, attack range. On top of it, full Satanic, full Shiva's Guard. They find Spell Prism, Minotaur for Juggernaut. He wants to have a BKB and another way of dispelling things. Keep it for now.
I mean, for VP right now, they have so much sustain, not even just with the Winter Wyvern, which we've talked about all tournament long, but the Enchantress, the Healing Ward, and even without that, T1's damage, it does feel like it's lacking, but it's basically just Wraith King. And you're just, I think it's just too much reliance on this skewer. As you can see, the Kobold,
No.
he actually drinks to his death.
Creep in Dota. The most badass looking creep.
I agree.
Holding the golden chalice.
Yeah.
Having the gold necklace.
And he's the weakest. Very sad indeed. DM's gonna jump in onto the Wraith King. This is gonna be the first life. See, Max on the outline, ready to go if he wants. 23 Savage, the Omni Slash is there. It's gonna be basically just on him with the bashes. Laguna Blade is there as well. 95 seconds, no 23 Savage, but the skewer onto 3 rather, into the fountain.
Beyond it.
It's not really doing anything. T1 is still dying in their own fountain. GG's called. We're going to, well, I guess we're going to a game 3 anyway, but this ensures that we will at least have a game 4.
In a best of 5, we're definitely going to go to game 3. It's 1 point something.
Usually.
Yeah, but overall, great performance from Virtus.pro. That first Roshan, the way they took it relatively quickly, considering they had a double damage, and from that point, it was just good performance. Like, I don't think they made any big mistake. T1 managed to get maybe 1 or 2 kills after the first Rosh, and then they took the second Rosh. This is how Dota is played. You do not want to go high ground with the first Aegis most of the time. You just...
Juggernaut! Ah! Ah! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Juggernaut! Ah! Ah! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! 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 Ah! Juggernaut! Ah! Ah! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! 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 Ah! Ah! Juggernaut! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Juggernaut! Ah!
And we're underway.
Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! 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 Ah! Ah! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! 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 Gah! Juggernaut! Gah! Gah! Juggernaut! Juggernaut! Gah! Juggernaut! Gah! Juggernaut! Gah! Juggernaut! Juggernaut! Gah! Juggernaut! Gah! Juggernaut! Gah! Juggernaut! 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 Ah! Juggernaut! Ah! Ah! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Juggernaut! Ah! Ah! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Juggernaut! Ah! Ah! Juggernaut! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! 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 Ah! Juggernaut! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Juggernaut! Ah! Ah! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Ah! Ah! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Juggernaut! Ah! Ah! Juggernaut! Juggernaut! Ah! Juggernaut! Ah! Ah! Juggernaut! Juggernaut! Ah! Ah! Juggernaut! Ah!
there's gonna be like Kunkka uses a combo or
Yeah.
Lina stun, he will jump in to get him that extra HP that is necessary to survive.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if I was just going based off of lineup alone, T1's lineup looks very strong, and it's part of, part of it is just the unknown factor of this Abaddon for Nightfall. And I'm not saying he's gonna build this Lacoste. Okay, I know this is stupid because Jenkins makes fun of me all the time.
I'm listening. Like, give me a new build.
But we have been seeing a lot of Echo Sabers on these position 1s, and Echo Saber on this hero with Manta is actually pretty dirty because he gets silenced like instantly.
Hit. And then you hit him one more time. That's 3 out of 4. Then comes the 4th.
With Manta. You Manta, then do it. It's instant. All right?
It's not bad.
I'm telling you. But Radiance does feel a lot better. But like you said, it is against the Nyx Assassin, which makes it a bit awkward. So we'll see, because he can get that Spike Carapace off any time you're in the vicinity of him. But then again, he can just pop his ult at any point as well. Yeah, really looking, as you can tell, I'm extremely excited about this game.
Yeah, I need you to calm down, sir.
Okay. Let me just reset. GPK is going to be mid lane versus Carl. We got the Lina Viper lane, which we've seen a few times before. Who do you like in this lane, young man?
It's always Viper. No matter who I see, it's always going to be Viper.
Really?
Pretty much,
Nice.
because Viper, he's still saving a point. Carl deciding whether he needs to put another in the poison attack or if he wants to go for corrosive skin. Those right clicks from Lina are very annoying, so just 1 point in corrosive skin.
Is finally gone. Their backup apparently is the Warlock, which used to be the meta hero, then kind of dropped off a cliff. The Shard got some tweaks, used to be very powerful. So interesting to see what they do here. Is Cuckoo getting gone on inside the kinetic field. One more proc for that silence. There you go. Imagine what it would have been like with an Echo Saber, Mr. Lacoste, but he will live.
Yeah, it would be pretty OP if one hero had Echo Saber
2.5 minutes
in.
Yeah.
That would be really hard.
Ice Frog,
lane into
think
him.
about it.
Echo Saber from Quelling Blade, Gauntlets of Ogre Strength, and the rest of 150 gold.
Yeah, I like it. Very nice. Also works on range heroes as well. We can add that in at some point.
Do you think it would be too OP if it works on the range heroes?
Probably. I mean, think of Weaver. You get triple attack, basically, whenever you want, which he basically can get, but only at level 25. So another hero that we just don't see right now. But yeah, always excited to see these heroes that are, like, I would consider them not super meta, at least not in this position, right?
Yes.
And the funny thing is, you could have, I mean, obviously they want to wait till later in the draft. As we can see an LSA connect here. You could have picked Abaddon first, and you could have just faked them out. But it was the last pick Abby, right? If I'm not mistaken.
It was. It was something that's not usually seen. They got surprised. Last pick Abba. What you're gonna do? I don't think they... Like, they could potentially kill Abba with level 20 Axe. He's burstable. 150 Calling Blade Threshold, so you can dunk him. But it needs to be like perfect finish.
You say Abaddon, right?
Abba,
But you
Abaddon,
say Abba,
Abaddon.
because Abaddon, right?
In Dota 1 days, I believe he was called Abaddon.
No, it's the opposite.
It was the opposite?
Yeah.
Okay, I got confused.
The correct pronunciation is Abaddon. I've had this conversation with so many people before, but I just hate it. Zephyr getting pressured by the Centaur. Oh, save. Okay. Gonna get the Impale off. You can see that Tidebringer doing pretty decent damage for DM. Very excited to see him play that as well. Something we have yet to mention. But Cuckoo getting chased. Curse of Avernus. Extra attack speed now.
Couple of magic sticks.
Yeah, looks like he will dive. Nope, he will not. Yeah, the Aphotic Shield was actually on Kingslayer, so didn't end up getting that proc off, sadly, for VP fans out there. And we have a lot of cool storylines, though. I mean, the fact that DM is playing Kunkka, which that first game that we saw is, I mean, that's a game for the ages, honestly. One of the coolest. If you guys haven't seen that game, go check out the VOD. As we see Cuckoo, again, getting pressured here. Aphotic Shield this time onto Nightfall, so this should surely be first blood. And for VP.
Third time's the charm. They try to go 3 times on him, and finally they manage to bring him down. Nightfall will get the last hit. They need some kind of regeneration at the bottom. Couriers were being used, so they have none left. So someone needs to go back. Couriers at this point, level 3, level 4, are extremely slow.
Yeah.
I think this scenario here should be like either one TP back with one of the heroes, or Kingslayer just dies and comes back with a free TP healing cell back to the lane. Because right now he's sitting at the 300 HP, no mana. We managed to miss a kill, or I missed a kill. I was looking at my own PC.
Okay, Zephyr died on his patented Nyx Assassin.
There we go.
Yep, gets X marks back and ends up being a pretty easy one.
Thank you
2-0 advantage for VP, but they are behind in net worth. I know it's very early on, but you can look at the net worth of the 2 cores and the Viper and the Lifestealer. They're not doing too shabby overall, but not the hugest lead.
I think the reason why Nightfall decided to TP back is because he got that first blood and also has the full phase boots. So coming back to the lane is a bit more speedy than what you usually see 4 or 5 minutes in.
Yeah, again, pressuring the axe, and this is a lot of damage. Like you said, the phase boost makes such a big difference, and now the aphotic shield applied, so gonna get glimpse back, in fact, and we'll see if the aphotic shield actually wasn't enough to take him out, but the right clicks are. So Nightfall again.
It's fine. King Okay, he's actually gonna save him, remove both Battle Hunger and Fatal Bonds. I think it's fine to let him die there.
Yeah, but the fact that this mid lane, I mean, GPK netting himself a kill, that is a pretty big story.
Yeah, that's actually huge. Now he's level 7, has that regeneration rune running. Something that was very popular during the major is blocking the small camp, so you cannot farm it. It was not done in this game. So Lina, she's very good at same goes for Viper, either stacking the small camp after pushing the wave. And now GPK is in the triangle, already farming the big stack.
And you can see Lifestealer trying to farm with that siege creep. It's going to be a little difficult for him, but he's getting tipped right now. Yeah, that not a whole lot of damage to deal, but he's still doing pretty well in terms of the CS, but he might have to be careful here. They know that Infest is down. Torrent will connect to start things out here with the Hadouken from the Satyr. We'll have to rage into the runaway, but they are chasing after him, actually.
He's getting the X mark. He's dead. Level 1 boat deals a ton of damage. And though you also have save, regeneration, pretty much coming out from the aura. Nyx Assassin, not the strongest laner. Doesn't provide you with much early on. So no surprise that they are not doing too hot on the top lane. DM, whenever he plays Kunkka and there's no Invoker in his team, he tends to get an Urn. Urn stick into Hood, upgraded into Viper, because there is so much magical damage.
Considering how much they're pressuring playing this out, he's farming pretty well, though.
He's farming okay on the
surprising.
tower. Pretty much the same amount of farm as Kunkka. But he is killable. He uses the rage, which is 18-second cooldown, only 3-second duration. Another time, they go for this mid tower. 7 minutes in, they will get the tower. This is pretty big. It opens up the map, and it also allows Lina to potentially rotate to the top lane. One Torrent into LSA should guarantee a kill on a Lifestealer.
Yeah, I think it was the last game or the game before where it was a minute and a half earlier than this, but it's still very early for this tier 1 towers. We're going to see Viper strike, so Carl will get
really show the Bambi who the boss is.
Yeah, I mean, Viper is a really good hero against Enchantress early on because it's Viper strike, not needing to really auto attack to get a kill in most scenarios. So 4-1 advantage here for VP, and DM still in this top lane has the Urn. We've seen him go pipe so many times before. We'll see if he switches up at all.
Definitely a good pipe game against Warlock. Nyx, Viper, kind of early magic damage. Well, TP mid, refill the bottle for GPK. And they can outpush the wave and possibly smoke because they didn't show the supports. Let's see what happens, or they just run to the top lane.
Still no boots on Kingslayer, although it's 9 minutes in the game. Good for a little vision, but Zephyr's going to run right into the LSA. Spike Carapace, Laguna Blade. Save takes it for himself. And Nightfall, it will be the Radiant's first item. There's still hope for the Echo Saber. One day.
What about Echo Saber after Radiance?
Yeah,
I think it's Radiance into Manta style feels really good.
Yeah,
a lot
also
of
very
spells to dispel. Even though you have a built-in dispel, Warlock. Yeah, there we go. Kingslayer.
It's like
one more time.
Once these phase moves came online for Nightfall, it's just no getting away from him anymore, especially with just a +1 there. Why do you think it is that we don't see Abby as a position 1 as often? Like, obviously you talked about South America being relatively dominant, but basically nowhere else. Is LSA? Okay. No Laguna Blade this time. Zephyr's gonna set it up with the Spike Carapace into the Impale. DM not quite in range for the X. Gonna take the Viper Strike instead, but now the LSA onto the Viper into the boat as well. Carl getting pressured big time. Save is there as well. Man, Zephyr baited his teammate there, it looked like.
Save one more time. Good rotation. They also have a ward on the high ground, which allows them to play a bit more aggressive. And
Radiant's
look
top
at the
tower is under attack.
defensive wards near the big camp tier 2 tower that T1 placed. This is the second time I see them place this. When they play against the Enchantress, they just want to see the rotation early on, possibly collapse on a mid tier 2 tower, wrap around.
Yeah, and definitely a good start for VP. 23 Savage is going for the Armlet into Casual Sange, and we'll see what he turns that into.
Scotty. This is his build on a Life Stealer.
A Radiant
Yeah,
using
pretty solid overall. We actually, was it him that bought the Shard really early on for the open wounds? He ends up getting kited. He's gonna insta buy
or Nightfall.
Yeah, I guess that's true. One of the two. The GPK, they're gonna pop out. Infest, no longer. So back to farming we go. He's still doing relatively well.
There's a nice cute play there. He took over the catapult and just ran away with it. Enchantress seen this movie multiple times and play against Viper. You can't really do too much magical damage coming out from the hero.
Yeah, what do you think though? Going back to that combo about position 1 Abby and why we don't see it. Do you think it has like major weaknesses?
I think we might see if this tournament, for example, went on for another week. It just comes a meta, and then everyone starts banning it, because it's also possibly a flex pick, position 5 or position 1. So it's something that teams like start to do. If you remember, I think it was before DPC 1 started. Omni Knight plus Sven. Like Omni Knight, everyone was talking badly about the hero. Suddenly, super popular, one of the best combos.
This was when Sven was good, right?
Yeah, maybe during the Mega League time, I believe. It was a hot thing. This time around, Lina going straight into BKB one more time. I just love this build compared to Boots of Travel.
Yeah.
Second item after finishing off the ult, because you have 2 defensive tools and you're relying on a timing. I've seen Lina fall off so many times after getting 5-0. Heroes who can get on top of her, and they have many.
And a lot of the games that you're talking about, Nightfall might take some initiation here. Who's in the vicinity with the rest of his team with the smoke. You've seen the blink dagger. Yeah, we'll get the Viper strike out, but there's the borrowed time, and that's why you don't initiate on Abaddon.
Not sure what the plan there was. I guess we force the hero, potentially like DP rotation, 100 gold down the drain.
Faces a stiff win.
And he has a Sacred Relic.
You cannot kill him. So another 50 seconds without that ulti. We'll continue to farm up, get the Radiance. That's a big timing for them, and this was also a blink reveal.
That is actually
getting scouted.
Zephyr scouting things out here. We have some TPs going on. Impale only onto 1, so it might be save.
Oh, what a
sacrificing himself for the torrent into the boat. Not really going to do much here.
That was nicely done by Save. Hits him with the creep, cancels the blink dagger, and then uses ensnare, completely shuts down initiation coming out from Axe. T1, they can't find any openings. They managed to kill Enchantress 2 times, and that's pretty much it.
I mean, back to this build from GPK, because we cast a couple of games as well where we see these Boots of Travel really early. And a lot of the time, it was on the team that was losing. So it feels like you're buying this kind of greedy item, and then you just
I've been
even
very
more at that
vocal
point.
about it during the major. During this tournament, I've seen it lose too many times, especially in a game when you're 2, 3, 4k gold behind and you decide to invest the half of your BKB into Boots of Travel. It's just not a thing. But to go back to his skill build, Dragon Slave, it's 4-1-4 build, allows you to farm a lot more, allows you to farm the Ancients with this build. Radiance online. Not yet.
700 to go. You can see he has the Blade of Alacrity, so 1 single item at a time to get that Manta, I assume. I've never seen that before. That's kind of strange.
Manta style is good, but you also have a way of dispelling things. I wouldn't mind if it's also SNY.
Okay.
You want to have status resistance against Axe. Especially Jug, he always buys SNY whenever he plays against the Axe. Just lower the duration of that Berserker's Call, even Nyx Assassin's Stun.
Yeah, because Borrowed Time does not take off Berserker's Call. It's one of the few things that Hard Dispel does not take off at all, right? So status resistance, kind of the only thing you can do. Other
Yeah,
than
when the boss
Axe.
calls, you have the answer.
Yeah, that's true. Axe is definitely a boss indeed. Is Zephyr scouting things out on DM right here? Another here that you can get a pretty easy spike carapace on if you're in the right area with a Tidebringer. As usual, working on his Agnum Scepter, but that's a long way away.
And managed to stack it.
Yeah, unfortunate. It's okay, DM, we weren't watching. But yeah, still going for that pipe. And are you... Shard, is there any reason not to go for Shard? Because he just seems to be so god tier with it. Tidal Wave usage
This is
him
his
is like
build.
none other.
Might just finish off like a casual medallion and then turn that into Tidal Wave. 20-minute mark. Shard, we've seen what he can do. One of the best Chunkus performance, as you mentioned, that we've seen in a really long time.
Yeah, Cuckoo is going for the typical... I mean, he's basically playing position 1 here, as you've seen that replay. Very nice. But,
yeah, do it one more time just to show that he cannot stack with Thorin.
very sad. Very sad. But Nightfall's Radiance is online. And typically when you are this here, I mean, I guess you could say for a lot, like the Wraith Gang is similar. You're very tanky, extremely hard to kill. And when you have the Radiance, that's basically go time. Do you think they're waiting for anything else, or is that pretty accurate?
Lina BKB, maybe Abba is a bit too farmed at the moment, so you're not gonna have a BKB on Lina plus a Radiance, but I feel a bit Abba behind you, and like the survivability that Yule Scepter gives you, I think it's enough. We still have not seen a single rock, right?
Oh, finally, that is true. Chaotic Offering. Okay, you spoke it into existence, my friend, and it was not a good one. I'm just gonna throw it out. I want to throw it out there.
Instantly, you dropped the rock.
That is perfect timing, but we do get a glimpse into the Static Storm with the kinetic field pulling him in, and Zephyr will take a tumble. We're spawning them out here, so now with the Radiance, I think they just bulldoze down lanes, or at least attempt to. He did go for the Blade of Alacrity, by the way, so just keeping you guys on your toes here. I don't know why he did one
blade.
Yeah, he just had it queued up. I don't know why.
He's still thinking. I think he is thinking whether he needs that Manta style to be able to outpush the waves and get rid of some extra spells, so you don't have to use a Photic Shield, or if he wants to get SNY. We'll see what he decides to go for. Picks up a Pupil's Gift. Not the best one. I prefer it on either Intelligence or Agility Hero, so you get some extra strength.
So we do have to mention, though, T1 side. So Cuckoo obviously going for the Manta style Shard build, but it's not really going to come online until the 20-minute mark, but it seems to be close. Actually, no, he's going to be a little bit late on that. It might be like 23 minutes. Whitemon getting caught out here to start things out. Carl, find the pressure with the break in the Nether Toxin. Really not going to do that much, though. The Radiance just going to work here. Glimpse back onto Cuckoo now. Going for him alone. Zephyr taking some damage from Save in the meantime, but they're going to lose the Disruptor, so it's a 1-for-1 to start this fight. And GPK kind of stuck in the trees here. He's going to get called. Carl, nice heal from the Infest into the chop before the borrow time actually comes through. GPK still with the BKB. And another kill for Cuckoo. So who cares about this Shard build as long as you can chop kids down? That went through the borrow time. Very nicely done.
Yeah, also Disruptor didn't get any spells off. Viper just instantly goes on him, forces him to like use a Thunder Strike, which is nothing but does not allow him to use the full combo. GPK was also running a bit low on mana. Great decision making once again from T1. This team just knows how to play from behind.
Yeah, they've definitely shown that from time to time. As Save going into his own triangle, Cuckoo's gonna blink out to safety. That gave him so much gold, by the way. That's basically a full Manta. So I was saying he would get like 22, 23-minute Manta Shard. It's going to be more like a 20 to 21 minute at this stage.
He's super. 4,000 gold on top of Vanguard, full Wand, and the Blink Dagger, level 13.
He is a beefy boy who picks up a Van Brace as well. Even beefier now. Very nice. Magic Resist, extra strength. And we can see on the side of T1 still that 23 Savage is still working on that Scotty. Not super close to getting it, but he is still top net worth and farm by a decent margin.
Oh, look at Nightfall. He knows. He sees Nyx Assassin, turns off the Radiant, so there is no counterplay to that. They have a break mechanic, but they don't have any silences to follow it up on Abaddon, because this is super deadly combo. Against him, you break him, and then he needs to click with his mouse or keyboard borrowed time. If you silence him, then he cannot use his ulti.
I'm pretty sure he can click R.
Depends. Maybe you forgot. Sometimes
That's true. If it happens once, yeah. The first time is sometimes the time that you can get away with it, right?
Yes.
But then you learn.
Abba's balance is extremely good for a carry. You get 8 strength, you get 65 damage.
Yeah, Zephyr can be glimpsed out. Already use the spike carapace, so the LSA into the right clicks are more than enough. Yeah, 8 strength is nice with the Radiance build. A lot of times you see the 15 move speed because you go for this Yasha into something to help amplify that move speed overall, but
8 strength also means 8 damage.
this is true. It is a strength here after all, so is going for the Manta after all. And first Roche, and we didn't really mention this, but I mean, Abaddon as a hero, good against Roche, good against towers.
Very good.
And with GPK on the back line, look how fast he's attacking with the fiery soul stacks.
Keep those stacks coming. Clarity running on him constantly.
Does this surprise you that he gets the Aegis?
And not really. Because last
GPK does
fight,
have BKB now, I guess.
I think the damage that you get from the Radiance is a bit too high, so you want to have Abba in the fight as much as possible, and he will be the front line. That's the big difference.
Yeah, that's true.
Even with ulti, he can still die, as what happened in the previous fight. GPK.
Radiant's middle tower.
I love this. I think he has a great understanding of what he needs to build. I don't think he's going to go for Boots of Travel. I see MKB, which I really like. Just get more damage. Wants to be able to pump up some damage against Viper, against the Lifestealer, because right now they're very limited on the physical. They have, once again, nothing that goes through spell immunity.
This is a right-click carry for the Aegis, for sure. And you're right, because Abaddon's going to be in the front line hitting the towers.
He bought Boots of Travel.
Caster Curse, typical stuff. I mean, it was one of those things where he had the MKB queued up. He has 2k gold. Like,
What about Boots of Travel?
We can go Boots of Travel. Why not?
Lowering the cooldown of the TPs will deal with the split push, set things up on a side lane.
But either way, he goes this after the other items, which is fine for the most part, right?
It is. I think if they lost a Roche fight, T1 picks up Aegis, he might need to go for damage item this time around. They're staying ahead in terms of what they're doing with the first Aegis, but still T1 ahead in terms of gold. Cuckoo level 15, Manta style done.
Gaudy now done as well for 23
also on top
Savage.
of Shard. Cuckoo's just getting gold out of nowhere.
Yep, those Manta illusions are quite strong, even without that Shard. Being able to push it down waves. Very strong indeed. As 3 minutes left on the Aegis for Nightfall, so we'll see if they want to get into a fight here. Oh, GPK is going to find somebody. Oh, but a big chaotic offering onto 3 behind him. The static storm to follow. Laguna Blade, the Infest to try to heal. Boat is coming in. Gets the Manta off, but the LSA connects again, and Cuckoo will take a tumble. Big kill for VP. And now the glimpse back from 23 Savage. He's already used his rage, but going to get silenced here if he's not careful. A nice big impale there from the Nyx Assassin, but they will be able to clean up 23 Savage. In fact, it saves to get the kill of all heroes. Kingslayer in the corner. Carl pops the BKB, just going to right-click, contently getting that double kill for himself. So it's a 2 for 2 in the end as GPK also died. Another Toxin, though. Yeah, glimpse back. That wasn't the glimpse, actually. That was the X.
That was the X mark.
So 3 for 2.
Still a very good trade for Virtus Pro. They managed to kill off Axe. As mentioned, 23 Savage just loves to use that Infest. I don't think I've seen him use Infest aggressively. It's more about that save. He tries to use it on Axe, but they already blew him up to half HP with the combo. Both plus Laguna Blade, couple of right clicks. They still get a return kill. Alina dies. When you play Abba as a carry, you're going to be out of position, so you won't be able to save your teammates because you want to lock onto the target and just go straight killer. We've seen how effective the silence also is against the Lifestealer when there's no rage. 4 right clicks, even though he does not have an Echo Saber.
This is true, but Manta Sight will help him get those procs. Now, keep that in mind that Satanic can be picked up at some point for the Lifestealer, so you can just dispel the Curse of Avernus stack once it gets to that point. So Rage should, I mean, if he goes for that build, which I assume he will at some point if the game goes long.
And look at this.
It is even.
Yeah, this is going to make you happy, Suns fan. Abaddon.
Oh! Yes, my boy. Hell yeah. What did we say, huh? Radiance Manta into Echo Saber. Yes. Love it. Nightfall, my new favorite player. I'm supposed to not be biased, though.
You know, they've been listening to stream. These guys are smart. You know, we should start paying more attention to professional casting.
I like this guy's Aghanim
why
list.
they're casting grand finals, right?
That's true. That's true. It's not because nobody was hired other than me. Very convenient to have me in the area. All right, Carl's going to pop the BKB, so that takes off the glimpse. But with that, the smoke on the VP, we feel very comfortable knowing that that magic immunity is going to be down. GPK, like we talked about, is working on the MKB now, has a 7-second BKB online. And Scotty, looks like he will actually finish SNY for 23 Savage. I feel like the Halberd. Yeah, Halberd would have been pretty good, wouldn't it?
Halberd's nice against Abba, against Lina. Those right click, miss chance.
Rage.
They got nothing. He can just TP out.
Yeah. Although he's actually just
or can he?
running around. Okay.
Infest.
Infest into Zephyr. Doesn't have his. Oh, he's just gonna pop out. All right, you can die for me, young man. Good effort.
That was nicely done. I mean, he could have just rage TP out. Aegis regeneration kicking in. Abba hit level 18, 40 seconds cooldown on borrowed time.
All right, you want to guess the next items for Abby after that? It's got to be Basher, right?
They need something. Yeah,
you need a
they
BKB.
Definitely need something to lock him down. Because with that 2 hits plus Manta style, I mean, Basher doesn't work with Manta, obviously, but double hit, something that the Pango is very good at. We're going to see that one again. On replay, he uses Rage. I thought
TP is up in 1 second.
Oh, that
maybe it was too close to call. Yeah, I think so. Either way,
ask for an Uber.
Yeah, it's a. I mean,
under attack.
it's not the best Uber. You don't go back to base with your friend and nobody, you know, one person dies. Usually Uber rides, that's like a 1-star, I would say. In my experience, at least, is DM is going to get the X mark. Ooh, Cuckoo jumped in. Just a little too quick on the fingers there.
If my Uber driver doesn't say anything, that's 5-star.
I agree. Totally agree. Yes. And apparently, I'm not a 5-star rated customer, apparently. I don't talk at all. I feel like that should be a good thing for Uber drivers.
Maybe it's a different story if you look at it from driver's perspective.
They're just bored?
Yeah, they're bored. You don't talk, that means you're not getting a 5-star rating.
Man, I'm too tired to talk. Too much to think about. Oh no, he didn't go for Echo Saber. He changed his mind. I think he went for Basher. Oh, it's because he got the Mindbreaker, maybe. It's actually a really good item to have.
It's a great item.
Abby.
Instant silence into another silence. Sounds really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the initial silence just to get
it lasts long enough.
Silence.
Yeah, I think that's fine. fine. Disruptor, yeah, working on Aghanim. I mean, this is one of the best Ags in the game. The fact that they've actually nerfed it time and time again, but they've kept it muted of the items. Speaking of which, yeah, Kingslayer's dead. BKB TP. All right, Taunt will connect onto Zephyr though, so they'll at least get a support trade. As you can see, Tidal Wave. I'm not sure how long DM has had that, but I'll keep an eye on it for here going forward.
He's done some amazing stuff in the game when he played Kunkka. I believe it was again Tidal Wave into Winter's Curse. Like you could push people who are not attacking the target into forcing it to attack, which is really nice.
It's just one of those, like, it's a cool shard because it fits the lore and the theme of the hero. And at the same time, it feels a bit memey, but in reality, if you're really freaking good, you can make it look really good. And the opposite is true, of course. It's just like a Pudge, right? Like Jenkins plays 117 Pudge. Yeah, exactly.
It just comes back to that 117 every single time. You have to mention it.
Cuckoo is infested right now, so this will be an aggressive infest. Oh, DM might be the target here. They don't have vision, though. Cuckoo, oh, he's going to find Lina with a big Yules just in time for the Chaotic Army to follow. Get that Tidal Wave off, but the choppity chop is enough for GPK to find his way to the grave. Does have buyback, will expend it. Nightfall, still with that Radiance. His DM is just getting kited from afar. You can see the Static Storm kinetic field just to try to separate this fight a bit. Look at his Abaddon. Pops that Madness out. Big call out to 3. This will be a dieback back onto GPK. And VP are crumbling. T1 lose their axe, but that's about it for now. But look at Save. He's doing a ton of damage with that impetus. Carl drops from afar. But now he has to worry about 23 Savage. Historically speaking, pretty good against the Enchantress. Pops the Rage to dispel that glimpse. Now the right clicks have cometh into the Impale, and another kill for 23 Savage. Great fight from T1. Dieback GPK.
That was beautiful. Like what Cuckoo did there, first initiation on Lina, even though he got the
Is under attack.
Yules off, they still managed to kill him. We can see some damage shared from the Fatal Bonds, and then he gets in the backline. Fall onto 3 people. Here we go. 1.5 seconds. Bam. Like the damage coming out from Max is insane, even though it was lowered, like the percentage chance from 10 to 5, it's still a thick amount of damage.
The fact that the counter Helix does not share a cooldown with the other counter Helix, the brother, the twin, is the biggest part of it. You could literally have 0% extra chance and it would still be a god tier item in my opinion. As this will set up the second rush of the game for T1. Shard is available. Axe already has it. Viper we've seen take it from time to time, but I would expect 23 Savage to get that open wounds, nostalgic feeling.
The old school ability. This is actually Dota 1 Knights, aka Lifestealer, where he didn't have any abilities. His ability was magic immunity. That's it.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, maybe I'm not as old school as you, Mr. Lacoste. Maybe I just didn't play that much of him back in the day. I would play like the Troll Warlord.
Yeah, you
and
played those
Basher
skilled heroes.
and
you didn't play Wraith King or Lifestealer. You were more like Gambler, I believe his name was.
Oh, I came after the Gambler, actually right after the Gambler, so didn't get to enjoy that one. I heard that Ricky had a ward though, Death Ward, and you can move around and not have to channel it. That sounds pretty broken. Maybe we can get a new hero with those abilities, or just play ability draft, but nobody does that. As okay, glimpse onto Zephyr. Like, oh yeah. Does have the Agnum Scepter, so Burrow online. He was pretty far away from that, but after that last engagement.
Exactly,
yeah.
and they gave him cheese, so 50% damage reduction while he's underground. On top of cheese, gonna be very hard to kill.
And T1 with a 10k net worth lead. You can see the Culling Blade threshold talent.
Yes, that's the big one. That's the one that I mentioned. So they have potentially a chance to just burst Abba if they can time it right. It's not easily doable. Threshold is 650, 600. My bad.
Threshold. I thought you said trash hole. That would have been pretty good as well. But you're right. It's one of the few things that will. Is it the only thing that will go through Abby?
Has fallen.
I guess so.
Finger, like any damage.
Oh, if you go before it goes off though.
Yes.
Yeah, you can use that while borrowed time though. And
Yeah, that is correct.
All right, 23 Savage pounding on the tier 3 tower. Has the siege here as well, but just going to reset. Actually going to TP top to try to find GPK. We know that his death would be pretty giant. Cuckoo? No, not going to find him.
It's a 5-man rotation. They don't get anything out of this. They have the 10k gold lead. BKB on Axe, 8-second cooldown. So do they have one on Viper for a long time. Natural BKB coming up from the Lifestealer, so they have a lot of bases covered. If somehow Kingslayer can manage to farm Agadam Scepter, that could potentially be a big game changer. Problem is, there is no Philly. No Philosopher's Stone means you need to be out there. You need to be trying to farm it up with the Thunderstrike, which is not easy. Still 1,200 gold away from it, so it's going to take some time.
Yeah, I think if I'm remembering correctly, there's only 2 mutes in the game now, right? Just Doom and Disruptor Axel.
There's also a third mute that I usually use when I'm playing
and the
on
scoreboard.
European servers. Yeah, the scoreboard
Gotcha.
mute.
Yeah, true. But DM now looking very strong on this Kunkka. Has a Solar Crest. We talked about the Shard already with the Pipe. Extremely tanky. Actually going for a Vlad. So basically an all aura type. That's technically only one. Pipe is technically more, I guess. Yeah, very tanky indeed. But Cuckoo is the one just doing the damage in these fights. He's the initiator. He has the 8-second BKB still. Has the Hyper Stone. We'll see if it ends up being Moon Shard or maybe
I hope it is the Moon Shard.
It's always fun to see it. And actually, he does have the ceremonial robe as well. So status resistance lowered by 10%,
which means longer duration call.
Absolutely. That is a really good item. He actually is going for Moonshard. Awesome. That's going to be one fast attacking axe for sure. one thing to note for the 23 Savage with this open wounds, it is quite easily dispellable. As save, ooh, Cuckoo
Where are you
runs
going?
right into him.
Nature
Battle Hunger's off. He
attend us.
doesn't have any damage really to kill him, so just trying to buy time and prevent a
Dire's
TP
bottom
potentially.
tower won't last long.
There is attack
Reinforcements
speed.
here.
Let's see how it matches Enchantress.
Yeah,
Untouchable.
I don't know about that one. A Zephyr,
Dire's bottom
He's trying.
yeah, DM is super dead. He finds the, oh, all right.
That's after
Carl
Viper showed up. Yeah,
If you
so it doesn't
dare.
really count.
Yeah, we want to see a 1v1 battle, Axe with Moonshard
Dire's
versus
middle
Enchantress
tower
level 3
is
untouchable.
drowning.
What about Tiny against Enchantress?
Oh, that's, you don't
That's
have
like
time to watch
60-minute
that.
game until he hits it 3 times.
Yeah, pretty much. That gets into the late game by the time he right clicks once. There's the AC online. So, I mean, again, like Axe picking up an AC, not the craziest thing, but because your Lifestealer's already doing it, Moonshard, I mean, why not? You want a Moonshard, or you want the Hyperstone at least. Could gone out for like a Mjolnir, I guess, but as apparently Viper's going for that as well, so.
And it also grants you 200 bonus night vision, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's true.
Radiant's top tower
Mentioned,
has
so you have
fallen.
that vision, maybe a better jump possibly. It's very hard for them to outpush the lanes. They have Ava with Manta Style, so he can like do one lane, but problem is there's always going to be 2 lanes push. Carl
Structures are
has
fortified.
double damage for a couple more seconds. Glyph pop.
And this tier 3 tower is mega dead. Still a few more seconds left on the death timers here for the rest of VP. Keep in mind, Carl doesn't have a shard, so they're not pushing as fast as they could be, but doing more than enough. As there's the call from Cuckoo. Finds the carry. Abaddon gets off the Manta. BKB popped in the meantime. You can see Nightfall just not having that much presence in the fight here as Cuckoo gets glimpsed back with the BKB. But you see the heal from 23 Savage again. He is really good. You brought it up earlier at using that Infest to keep his teammates healthy.
He's been really impressive at doing that. And Nightfall pops BKB straight away. It was 9-second BKB, so
Yeah, true.
I don't think it was needed. But we could also see in that fight that Axe can go in and just dunk him potentially.
Yeah, and it feels like at this stage of the game, when you have this much farm and this tanky heroes on the side of T1, the Abaddon carry is just kind of falling off to a degree. See the bash come online, 23 Savage, able to get a pretty easy one onto Kingslayer, who's still working on that Aghanim Scepter. Not
Getting
that
very
far,
close.
though. Yeah, 500
If there's
away.
a fight which they think it could change the game, can potentially sell the wand, maybe even sell the tranquil boost.
Sell
Pretty much
everything.
Sell everything.
Literally
Buy a smoke and drop that static storm. Level 15. I think this is one of the best level 15s in the game when paired up with the Aghanims, +2 duration on the static storm.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's really strong.
We got some level 25s.
I mean, if they can get that onto Lifestealer before Rage comes off,
Dire are
that is a
standing for
potential kill.
enemy.
I say potential. It's all about positioning here. Nightfall pops the BKB. TP out. No bash.
25 Viper. Nether Toxin cooldown. If that was Nether Toxin silences from the previous versions,
Yeah.
that'd be really good against Abba. Break plus a silence. Can't use ulti at all.
Wonder why they got rid of that talent.
I don't know. It would seem perfectly balanced. AoE silence.
Well, it's... I mean, what's the cooldown on it now? It's without any... hey, again with the Spell Prism, are you kidding me? 2.5 seconds? Last time we saw this, it had the Spell Prism as well. So just the constant Nether Toxins, which, again, against Abaddon... I mean, that is actually something we didn't really talk about. We talked about the ult aspect of Abaddon, but his curse of Avernus disabled within Nether Toxin. That's what makes the hero good.
Pretty much, yeah. He's no
Chaotic Offering cancels the TP for DM as he is just getting right click from afar. Dunkity dunk for Cuckoo.
Yeah, DM, also known as Dunk Me, and Axe grants his wish right there.
I like that.
It's too much damage coming off from this offlane Axe. He's staying on top of the network for a very long time. Pretty much having the same amount as Lifestealer at this point, which is pretty impressive.
You know, I hate to say it, but when GPK picked up those boots of travel,
Everything just went downhill.
he's right in the middle of the pack in terms of net worth. Not what you want to see. He did get off to a really good start too, so it's... I mean, that dieback was pretty much the game, I feel like.
Also, that fight when he cornered himself with a
Yeah.
BKB, couldn't get out.
Yeah, that's true. If he had a Wind Waker, he could have gotten out though. That's a very common item these days, of course. He's going for the Eon disc, though.
Invest 7,000 gold. Sounds good. I've seen Wind Waker winning off games.
Yeah.
You know, certain situations against Faceless Void, potentially just using it to buy a bit more time. But there's this item called Nullifier, which deals well with it.
Yeah.
It's too expensive.
I mean, what if you made Wind Waker non-dispellable?
It's a great idea, Sans.
Thank you. Thank you.
What about Global Silence not being dispellable?
Yeah, Silencer would then be good. He's pretty garbage right now. As we see the third roach being taken by T1. The shard is inside. So double chaotic offering, I assume, is what they'll go for here. And this is the fight for VP. This is the fight they absolutely have to win. They find Zephyr. It's going to take a while to... Yeah, they already have Roche. So can they even kill Zephyr is the question. Static Storm is there, but the Infest comes off with that BKB or the Rage already activated beforehand. Yeah, he's absolutely alive. Gets forced out to the low ground. And with that, Nightfall is just going to get completely surrounded. Cuckoo and company going to have no issue chopping him down.
Yeah, this might be it. They can't even kill Nyx Assassin with the full combo pretty much, and he also had a cheese. Eon Disc was there, stays burrowed. Warlock uses the heal on him with the Holy Locket on top of it. It's just too much. Axe holding on to a refresher right now, he might handle it. Warlock, as you suggested.
Yeah, see the Torrent defense potential here. Zephyr not burrowed, so he's not getting that damage reduction, but there he goes inside the ground where he belongs. Cuckoo jumps in. Boom! GPK is gone. Just like that. Does have buyback though. Will expend it.
1, 2, 3 buybacks.
Yeah, Nightfall getting pressured now by the Lifestealer. LSA is not going to connect. See the tidal wave come through as well. The impale from across the freaking map. Nightfall just trying to get out. Does not want to use that ult. Look how slow he is. The upheaval is insane. We see the gem on the ground right now, so that's going to be a Rax in the mid lanes. We see a reaction from a player for some reason. Yes, he did it! This is where they turn it around. Nightfall with the Echo Saber. How can you counter this? That is the question, my friends. Impale from global range, that might have something to do with it, though. That's a pretty good counter, I think. Nightfall gets off the Aphotic Shield. They had to give him the second rack at the very least, but 23 Savage, right-clicking with that cool frenzy. Nightfall pops the BKB. You can see Whitemon gets off that Chaotic Offering with that Refresher Shard. Static Storm is applied, but really nobody of use inside here. They're just back in the fountain. The Infest, again, used to heal. GPK pops the BKB. Save. Yeah, 23 Savage doesn't want to go for it.
They need to like glimpse or X-Mark off the tidal wave.
Oh, they got the Viper thanks to the Echo Saber. The slow is huge, Lacoste. Don't forget the Echo Saber. Kingslayer gets out with just a sliver of HP. The Laguna Blade finally takes care of this Aegis. Okay. Now the LSA is going to not hit, but the Basher is there. Savage
Top tower is under
does have the Infest in 20 seconds. GPK gets found by Zephyr, and back in the ground he goes. Echo Saber going to work again with the illusions. They'll find another support hero, but double buyback, making a triple buyback from T1. 23 Savage is left all alone right now. The Echo Saber, it's working, but a great call from the other side into the choppity chop. 23 Savage gets a yet another kill. Pumps up. He is healing up to a high degree. GGs are called. The Echo Saber, maybe if it was picked up 20 minutes ago, would have been enough. Look at that. Game 5, man. Yeah.
This is what we expected, and this is what we're gonna get. Game number 5. These two teams, they've been amazing throughout this whole tournament, and T1 manages to, win this 4th game.